What's up, Reds? Welcome to the Sunday Summary talk show on Nothing But Reds. Very special guest today, Craig from the Anfield Agenda. As always, with me as well is Steve. Very happy to have you on, Craig. How you doing, man?
Oh, it's an absolute pleasure, Kyle, and hello to Steve as well. It's always great to catch up with you guys. My favorite American duo. How are you?
Let's go. Let's go. Very well, man. Appreciate you having you on, guys. And everyone in the chat, say what's up to Craig. Welcome him in. And we got some people in the chat already. We got Liz Golden. Let Steven pin. Steve, I'm going to eventually figure out how to let you pin, my man.
Yeah, doubt it.
Downturn Abbey in here as well. Welcome, guys. So, of course, we're previewing the Wolves match today. We got to talk a little bit about the Anfield Road expansion development. I made a video earlier in the week about that. Feel free to check it out. And, of course, guys, donate to the channel. The super chats and super stickers are now available, as well as channel memberships. All that info is in the description if you feel like you want to check it out. So, let's jump into it, guys. So, team news, okay? Of course, we have some news that Trent and Naby are in contention, right? But, of course, we know Alisson is out with another hamstring injury, which I don't understand. I've never seen a goalkeeper for us get injured as often as Alisson. And I don't know what it is. I don't know if he's just injury prone or there's just this plague of injuries going through the squad because of the lack of rest time with the pandemic. But Steve, are you confident going into this game based on the performance Kelleher gave during the week? What are you thinking, man?
I feel pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the last couple of times I've seen him play, I've been pretty impressed. I wouldn't say that I'm as confident as if Alisson was going to play, but I'm more confident than Adrian. So I think it could be worse, it could be better. But yeah, no, I think he played great yesterday. Not yesterday, the other day. You know, that's a very high pressure situation to step in at his age, Champions League debut. I thought he handled it well. I'm not even sure if he put a foot wrong. What did you guys think?
I completely agree with you. Craig, what about you?
Yeah, well, it was really interesting to see such a composed performance from a young man who conceded 7 a few days earlier on in the underage game against Manchester City. But I want to give you guys a little bit of insight into Quiveen, and that's how you pronounce his first name for anyone who isn't sure.
It's pronounced Quivy?
Quiveen. So if you think of it being spelled Kwee and then -Veen, Quiveen. It's the Irish for Kevin. You call him Kevin if you want, if that makes it easier.
I love it.
My goodness. Right. That makes it a lot easier.
Yeah.
So a bit of background on Quiveen. He started his career at Ringbatten Rangers as a forward, and he only went in goal at the age of 15. So hence how proficient he is with both of his feet. He was a striker, so that's where he gets that calmness, and that's why Kloppo said he gave him the nod because of his distribution and his calmness. And you could see that distribution. To be fair, it was phenomenal with both feet. But
it really was.
I'd be happier with Kyle or Steve going in goal ahead of Adrian. I'm not going to lie. Either of you lads would do me.
God, I don't know if you want me in goal, but man, yeah, he did great. And I think his shot stopping ability was there as well, in addition to his ability to play with the ball at his feet. We saw there were 2 good saves that stuck out in my mind. I can't remember who was taking the shot, but one parried it over the bar, and then the other one where he got down really quickly and parried it out wide. I think, you know, being in a high-pressure situation, like you said, Steve, good performance from him. Great performance from him. But with Trent and Naby in contention, we got to talk about the midfield. What are you guys thinking is going to be the starting midfield today? Do you think Klopp goes with this 4-2-3-1 with the 2 holding midfielders, or do you think he goes with the 4-3-3 and maybe sits one of those attacking guys and rests them today? We'll go with Craig first on this one.
Yeah, it's so difficult to second guess the manager, isn't it? Because you never know what goes through his crazy brain.
We always get wrong.
Same every week. I think I've done a starting 11 for 2.5 years now, and I may have gotten 2 right in 2.5 years at my guesses. You would imagine that Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum will start in midfield. I think we're down to the bare bones there. I think that's so. Will it be Curtis Jones? Will Naby get the run from the start, or will he go for the attacking quartet? And that's what I'm hoping for. Call me greedy, but I love the idea of that 4 getting unleashed with Henderson and Gini Wijnaldum then behind them. So, my attacking self wants him to go with the attacking 4, but I think he might rest one of the forwards. So I would expect maybe Jones to get the nod, perhaps.
God, and I'm loving Jones, man. I'm love seeing Jones playing a lot. We did a player profile earlier in the week on him. Go and check that out as well in this description in the player profile. Steve, what do you think, man?
Of Curtis Jones?
Not of Curtis Jones. That transition was horrible. Just forget I said that. What do you think of the starting lineup in the midfield?
Yeah, selfishly, I want the front 4 to be out there, Gini and Hendo, especially with a I guess you could make the argument either way. Like we should have more midfielders in there to support the back line, support an inexperienced keeper.
True.
But I think like just the same, scoring more goals will kind of offset the issues that we have at the back. So I want to see the front four out there. I'm going to go with Jota, Firmino, Salah, Mane up top, and then Gini and Hendo in the midfield.
Gini and Hendo in the midfield, absolutely love it. I like your point, what you made about having more midfielders in front of an inexperienced backline or an inexperienced keeper. I do like that point. But let's go and look at previous matchups, okay? So I'll go ahead and share my screen here with everyone. We're using the Premier League website here. All right, so if we're going into stats here, in the head-to-head matchups, 12 matches played, 2 draws. Liverpool with 9 total wins, so the statistics are really in their favor here. So, I mean, really, guys, Wolves, when I think of Wolves, and Craig, you and I were talking about this beforehand, I'm confident going in, but Wolves are always going to give us a game, you know what I mean? But when you look at these stats right here, head-to-head, it's kind of like, wow, and not only that, but we're at Anfield, you know what I mean? What do you guys think about that? What are your feelings going into the match? Steve?
Sorry, I was just reading through this.
Yeah, no,
this is extremely.
It's lopsided.
Yeah, I didn't realize it. Well, I'm not surprised we've won so many, but I thought it would be a little bit closer than this.
Yeah, if we go in the recent meetings too, right? And it's not like we're blowing them out. We got the 3-0 win against Wolves. I remember that match actually, but the 2-1 win last year, I think Bobby scored in like the 81st minute to make that one. That was at Molineux. That was a very, very entertaining game to watch. And personally, I think that's the one that kept the streak going. So like I said, when it's at Molineux, it seems like, because if we look at the last 2 matches at Anfield, we've kept a clean sheet. So,
yeah, and there'll be 2,000 fans there, correct?
Yep.
And they don't have Diogo Jota, correct?
They don't.
Okay. I feel pretty good about this one. What about you guys?
I look at that and I have to say I'm blown away because your perception is that it's going to be a much more difficult game, that there would have been far more grueling ties between the two. And I'm genuinely shocked to see the stats like that. Still in my head, I have this as a 2-1 win for the Reds. I'm really, I'm nervous about the game because, a Nuno side is going to be hard-working. They're going to be drilled. They're going to know their jobs. Speaking to a Wolves fan during the week, they recently switched to a back 4, which is unheard of for Nuno's team. And I wonder if they'll switch back to a flat back 3 or back 5 for this one. So, that has really shocked me, Kyle. It really has. I did not expect it to be so lopsided.
Man, and that's why we do it, man. There's always untold stories in the stats, you know what I mean? But to be fair, Wolves, I believe they're 10th in the table right now. Got to look at some of the other stuff here. And they have, we can't do the match stats there. But if we go down to the form guide, right? Wolves, they're in a weird form right now, mid-table form. You look at their last couple matches, you got the win against Arsenal, draw against Southampton. Southampton, of course, are in great form. The loss against Leicester, I don't know what Leicester's doing. They're hot and cold. And then the win against Crystal Palace and the draw against Newcastle. And if you look at us, it seems like, and this is just, no one expected this. Ever since Van Dijk went out, we have been playing extremely, extremely well. And who knows if it's a fluke? Who knows if it just took us some time to get our footing? We don't really know. But if we look at the draw against Brighton, right, you can blame that on VAR. We won't get into that today. But the 3-0 win against Leicester, 1-1 draw against Man City, pretty much expected, right? And then you have the 2-1 win against West Ham, 2-1 against Sheffield. But season so far, so yeah, Wolves in 10th place, right? Liverpool in 3rd. The table itself is so tight though, guys, right? I mean, literally like between, I can't, I'm gonna have to pull up the table here in a second, but the points total, there's no real gap between the first place team and like all the way up to 12th. It's when you get into the bottom half of the table where you look at like Sheffield and Fulham and Burnley, where they don't really have any points at all. So based on these stats here, guys, and I've said this for the last couple of weeks here, our average goals conceded per match has been slowly dropping. And I love that. It was at 2.6, and you guys will see here, it's down to 1.7 now, just in the last 3 weeks. So, Craig, I'll come to you first. What are you thinking based on these stats right here, just at a first glance?
Shocking. I wouldn't have thought our goals conceded would have been that high previously. Even at 1.7, you would want that to be dropping even lower than that. But you know what? If we can just touch on the defence for 1 second, I made a shout on our stream, and I'd love to know what you guys think of it. When Van Dijk comes back, I'm all for playing him alongside Fabinho. Fabinho, to me, now is a centre-back, and heaven forbid he even wanders back into midfield. I know what he brings in midfield, but if we're looking ahead and we see Thiago, Henderson with, let's say, Naby Keita ahead, Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain ahead, one of the front four in the attacking midfield role, you start to wonder where the possibility is for Fabinho to get a regular starting berth, as good as he is in that midfield role. But if you have him behind, still with the passing range, still with the ability to break lines, still with the defensive line he has in mind, and then Thiago and Henderson ahead of them, I'm starting to see how we start moving the ball through the middle of the pitch now rather than just using full-backs and diagonal ball. So I'm sold now on Fabinho. Fabinho is a centre-back in my head.
I love that take. Steve, what about you?
Yeah, I think it's interesting that point you make to talk about kind of moving the ball through the midfield, so we're not just constantly relying on Robbo and Trent to make things happen, switch the field, get up, get all the way up really into the box. I love Fabinho as a midfielder. I really do. Like, I just love when he puts in balls over the top to Mane and Salah. He's got beautiful touch, and I love when he gets the ball from like 25 yards out. This happens like 3 times a year, and he lines up for that laser. Like, that is my favorite thing all year when we get to see him shoot those. And he rarely misses, right? He's like his last 2 have gone in. Anyways, I still prefer Gomez back there. That's just me. But who knows what sort of condition.
I have a bone of contention here with Gomez, I'm afraid.
I think a lot of people do. And a lot of people do with Matip as well, because he just can't stay fit. So
I think Gomez, when he comes back from this injury, will have missed around 220 days, 230 days of football during his young career already, and had quite a few. I went through his injury records on the stream one day, and I shocked myself. And look, I'm somebody that always feels sympathy for a player who's injured, because nobody goes out to get injured. Nobody wants to be injured. People want to play football, but I do question long term if we can carry Matip and Gomez as centre backs and be relied upon. You need the centre back pairing that can play 30 games a season.
100% agree with the fact that can we afford to carry them on? Now, to the Gomez point and the Fabinho point, I love Fabinho as a midfielder. I love it even more that we are able to put him at the back and he's able to perform, right? When we first saw it against Chelsea this season, I'll admit, I was blown away. I was saying, and then against Ajax in the Champions League, I was saying this guy is special. Not only, we never heard he could play center back before, right? We heard he played right back for Brazil, a little bit for Monaco, but he was a defensive midfielder. Klopp throws him at center back, and all of a sudden people are saying Fabinho is the best center back that we have. I mean, it's just great that we have that versatility. So I love that from him. Another thing is, Craig, you brought up, I think it was Craig, we don't have to play through the fullbacks, right? It's crazy to think that an injury crisis has sort of forced us to adapt our style of play. But not only that, it's like we are better playing when we're forced to adapt, we can play at a better level, right? And I love that. I love that we're able to not only play out wide, getting the fullbacks forward, swinging balls into the box. We can still do that if we need to, but we can also play out from the back using Fabinho or Matip. But to the Gomez-Matip point, I love Matip. I've always thought Matip is excellent when he's back there. Unbelievable. And he gives us just memes, like constant memes. Just the whole, when he was flailing his arms against Everton, I still go back and watch that. It's the funniest video. But can them not staying healthy? 220 days, Craig, you said total?
I'm on my phone, so I can't pull the stats up, but I think it's something around that. This is when he comes back from this current injury that he has. So, yeah, he's missed a lot of football, a lot. I think if my memory's right, it was around 240 days if he was to be out until, let's say, March time.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And we got Liz saying, Steve, I'm going to let you read this one right here. Liz, channel member. What is it?
Best ability, Steve. Great question, Liz. The answer is availability.
The answer is
that's why we need to re-sign Gini Wijnaldum. We need to make sure he stays for another at least 3 years. Not sure what type of contract he wants. Craig, maybe you have some insider scoop on that, but we'll get to that in a minute. Fabinho's focus and discipline is just unbelievable. He's just, I feel like he's next level in terms of his fundamentals. Like he rarely puts a foot wrong in on a challenge. Like when he got the foul called a few weeks ago, that was just not a foul. Who was that against?
Wijnaldum?
Just outside the box.
No,
they called it a pen, I
Fabinho.
think.
Remember, they called it a
Fabinho.
penalty because
Yeah.
somebody.
Oh God! Oh, that was horrible. Was that Sheffield?
I think
Yes,
you could be correct.
against
yes.
McBurney.
Yeah. McBurney.
God, I hate that guy. But anyways, no, Fabinho as a center back, like I don't hate it. It's a good point. He's so damn good. That's all there is to say. He's just so good.
He's so good.
He's the epitome of somebody who's always in the right position, doesn't need to make a last-ditch tackle. Jamie Carragher did a fantastic piece on Monday Night Football, or I think it was Monday Night Football, one of the Sky shows, about his just defensive positioning, his body shape, everything is just, it's second nature to him. And he gets that, of course, from having that time, as you said, Kyle, at right back and then defensive midfielder as well. He's just naturally defensively minded. So I would have no issues, like Steve said, if he did go back into midfield, you're still going to get that cover for the back four, but we're just blessed to have such a unique talent on our hands with Fabinho. And let's be fair, his missus is fantastic. Her social media game, her interaction with Reds, his good lady wife is brilliant. She's been a great addition to the Reds family as well.
I need to check her out.
Social media legends, right? Between Ox and then Fabinho's wife. I mean, really, we're just social media legends, really. But
Milner. No, Milner is a
Milner.
legend.
King Jimmy, definitely.
Forgive me. Good Lord.
I would love to spend a day with James Milner.
Seriously.
Like, I just want to go hang out with him. Like, let's just get some lunch. Like, let's go do some pranks on random strangers in public.
And to be fair, Steve, we brought this up before, and Craig, I'm sure you know this. He has the door named after him in the new training facility, the James Milner door. And I just love, I don't know if it's the irony or it's just it's just like sarcastically named after him. I don't know. I just absolutely love it. And I think it was his idea, to be fair.
Yeah, it's brilliant. It's the first team suite. Yeah, it's called the James Milner room. It's brilliant. You got it all. What a facility, by the way.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Absolutely amazing. We'll just discuss about that a little bit, but it's got the hydrotherapy rooms. If you guys haven't already gone and checked out the tour that Ox did, it's on the Liverpool FC page, the YouTube page. Absolutely incredible. Definitely go check that out, guys. But let's go back here to the stats a little bit. So top players, right? Diogo Jota has finally broken into the top for the Premier League goals, right? He's got the 5, and their top goal scorer, of course, Raul Jimenez. Hope he's having a speedy recovery. I believe he had a fractured skull in that challenge. Very unfortunate. Always horrible to see players have bad injuries like that. But Salah still always there, always in the top goal scoring. All right. And I've been saying this, Steve, the last couple of games, Steve, we've been talking about this. Firmino has looked like Firmino of old, even though he only has 2 assists, and Robbo has broken into that top spot with 3. Firmino starting, you think it's going to be a big game for him?
I don't see why not. I mean, I think his form is increasing. I mean, let's face it, he could have had a hat trick that one game where he hit the post like once or twice, and then he finally got the header in. Who was that guy? Who was that?
God, I was just like, what is he not going to score? Is he really going to get denied goals after it hit the post? And that was closer, the one that went over the line, and it was closer than the Man City one 2 seasons ago.
That's crazy.
It was, you saw it, right?
Yeah. No, I did. And he's had some golden opportunities. I've also seen him rip some as well that weren't such great chances, but it's good to see. I don't see why not. He could have a good game today.
Yeah, and we got, I completely forgot about this. Let's say what's up to some people in the chat. We got Liz, of course. We got a Sean Patel in there. Welcome, guys. Welcome, everyone, from the Anfield Agenda YouTube page. Welcome to everyone. We got Mike in here. Some new people as well. Sir Deshaun, RSH14. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for joining us today. Of course, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. We do Sunday summary talk shows every Sunday, of course, so you won't want to miss that. And, of course, check out the newly established channel memberships down in the description below. The top link is for that. Fly Girl MD, welcome. And, of course, Diogo Jota, what's up, guys? So let's go back to the stats here. So, and if we're looking at their defense, Ruben Neves is great. I actually saw a link earlier this week linking us with us trying to go get Ruben Neves. I just don't think that we are going to do that, right? I mean, obviously the top teams are going to be linked with good players, and Liverpool being a top team right now, I just don't see it. I don't see it. What do you guys think, Craig? I mean, do we really need someone else in the midfield? The only thing I could think of is if we don't extend Wijnaldum's contract and he leaves on a free, maybe. But even then, we have Curtis Jones coming up.
Did I see that from you, Craig?
On Neves? No. My
Okay.
information on Neves is that he's a little bit unhappy currently, playing sort of second fiddle to João Moutinho at times at Wolves, and
Interesting.
could be just a little bit of talk maybe to try and re-establish himself. But there is a link there going back. Pep Lijnders coached them for 6 years at Porto, coming through at underage level. So, he's a player that would make some sense, but do we need another holding midfielder? I don't think that we do. I think that we'd be okay with that, to be fair. But he's a quality footballer, no denying that.
He is. And we were linked with him before he went to Wolves because, or no, not before he went to Wolves, but when Wolves were promoted to the Premier League, I believe we were linked with him for a while. Like we were going to get him. And that was the season that Fabinho came in, I believe. We ended up getting Fabinho under the radar. No one knew anything about it. And I'm happy. I'm happy now. So
we were
that's
also
good.
linked under Brendan Rodgers before he even moved to Wolves.
Yeah, I think he moved to Wolves when they got promoted.
Okay, so I didn't know if he was already there. Where did he come from? Like
he played in the Championship with Wolves? Definitely, he came into Wolves when they were in the Championship, and he came from Porto, if my memory is correct.
Okay,
he came through. I think he captained Porto at a very young age as well.
Gotcha.
I just remember thinking, how on earth are Wolves bringing Ruben Neves to the Championship? It just stunk of George Mendes' influence there to me.
Yeah. It just
Steve,
reminds me. I
gonna
don't know
say?
why I just thought of like when Fulham spent like 150 million in that one off season 3 years ago. I don't even know if those players are still there, and they're terrible.
Dude, you had Ryan Sessegnon came in. He's at Tottenham now. You had there was
Michael Sarri.
Sarri, yep.
Sarri.
They had Sergio Rico from Fulham. He was on loan, but they had so many players. But they bring in players on loan for the season. Like this season, I believe they have Loftus-Cheek and Lamina from Southampton. And Lamina's not even starting. He didn't start yesterday, right? And it's just crazy, dude. Fulham, like, they have no chemistry. And I think that's the problem. Whereas if you look at a Wolves team, Wolves have the entire Portugal national team on their squad. It's literally Portugal 2.0. So there's
but none of the best players.
They're great though. You can't deny.
They're all solid, but they don't have any of the world class players.
Yes. They just paid 35 million for an 18-year-old that had 5 senior games and brought him in from Benfica up front, the guy Silva.
Fabio, yep.
Then they had Diogo Jota, to be fair, who will now be a superstar.
He's so good.
At
Now.
Liverpool, yeah.
Yes.
Adama Traore could well go through and break through as well. So the Chesterfield agency run by George Mendes has a finger in many pies to do with Wolves Football Club, and you'll see a conveyor belt of talent continue to come in there. It's a nice little scam that they have going, if I'm being honest. It's a nice little scam.
Absolutely love it.
They're all going to get sold off eventually.
Sorry to interrupt you, Steve. I just wanted to get this super chat out of the way. We got Kent super chat from the Anfield Agenda YouTube page. We appreciate that very much, Kent. $2.99. Love it. Absolutely love it. Thanks for joining us here. We appreciate all the new faces in the chat, and keep the chats coming. We love reading the comments here. We got Downturn Abbey in the chat saying, Stevie G keeping his winning streak at Rangers going. Do you think is increasing chances of succeeding Klopp as a LFC manager? Wouldn't you love to see it, guys? Like, that is my dream, to see Klopp or Gerrard succeed Jurgen Klopp after his time is done. What do you guys think real quick before we move on?
Yes.
It's the dream, isn't it? Right, Craig?
Real quick. Yes.
Oh, you don't think so?
It has to earn it. I don't want him to get the job.
Sure.
Steven Gerrard, and he's not earning it for me going from Rangers to Liverpool, no matter what he does there.
Sure.
I love it, but I'd rather Klopp extend his contract by another 2 years, if I'm being honest with you. And
I think I've accepted the fact that the most likely scenario, of course, I'd love for him to extend his contract. It's probably not going to extend beyond 2024. And that I feel like that's just based on Klopp's history. I think we were lucky to get him to extend it to 2024. I think he likes what he has here and he wants to continue to build, but that's just my opinion, of course. I
don't want his legacy tainted. I mean, let's say Gerrard came in after Klopp has won us another league title, a couple of domestic trophies. I would hate for Steven Gerrard not to get off to a great start and for his legacy to be in any way tainted. It's more out of protection and respect. I love Steven Gerrard, but he has to earn it. And to me, he's behind Pep Linders at this moment in time, in my reckoning.
Interesting. I do love Pep Linders. I think we all love Pep Linders. The players have come out and been very vocal about loving him as well. But you're right. I think Gerrard needs to earn it. I think what he's done with Rangers since he's been there, to be fair, he's starting to build something there. I think he is. I think it just needs more time. But let's move on to the stadium expansion. Now, Craig, did you get a chance to look at the proposed plans for the stadium expansion during the week?
Yeah, I certainly did. Yeah, it's very interesting. The money was in escrow for the past while. Even during COVID, the money was sitting there waiting. And yeah, it is 18 months build time for when they start going. It'll be similar to the main stand. I think you're going to touch on it. It'll be built behind and then they'll join the two up. And yeah, it's brilliant. And again, massive credit to our owners.
Very much so. Very much so. I think after the investment is made, the investment in infrastructure, including the main stand, the Kirby training ground, and the Anfield Road stand will total about £200 million. And when you think about the value of the club skyrocketing since FSG have taken over, it's a great investment. I think it'll bring the stadium capacity to about 61,000, which is great. Puts us up there with the top clubs. For a while, I mean, if you think about just back in 2015, the stadium was at 43,000 or 44,000. And I think, you look at stadiums like, I think, Stamford Bridge, Old School Stadium, those stadiums, like, we're a top team. We're in the Premier League. I think, like, expanding, renovating the stadium, they're doing it the right way as opposed to building a completely new stadium. I'm kind of going off on a tangent here, but that's just what I think. But, Steve, have you gotten a chance to look at it, man?
I took a peek at it a little bit. You guys definitely know more about it than I do, but I definitely think it's a great investment. Being able to bring more Reds in after COVID is always good. Make it louder, make it a better atmosphere, allow more folks to see games, and like you said, catch up to the attendance of these other stadiums, these other big clubs. I think it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring up some of the proposed pictures here. I'm going to try to find some of the ones that I was sharing in the video I made earlier this week about it. But essentially, they're going to keep with the theme of the main stand. Okay. Now, let me bring it up here. All right. So you see just this is just a basic Google search, right? But this has been the picture that's been making its rounds for pretty much the last year or so. But you'll see very similar design to the main stand. Of course, it only has 2 levels. But if you look from the outside, which here we go. This is a perfect one. So if you look at the bottom right screen, you guys can see they're trying to stay with the theme of the main stand. And I absolutely love it. I love the brick. I love how they're keeping it with the aura of Anfield. And even if you look inside, you'll see the Kenny Dalglish stand on the right in the top picture, the Anfield Road stand, and then the main stand on the left. It's just going to add another element because really right now the stand that's, no pun intended, the stand that stands out as being like kind of old school is the Anfield Road stand. So I think it's the right decision. And for $60 million, the investment, Craig touched on it a little bit, they're going to start by building on the outside, right? Like they did. They built over the top during the regular season. And then during the offseason, they'll get on the pitch and they'll build inside. So with 61,000 people coming, it's going to increase revenue. I think it's just great for the club, guys. And do you like the design? That's my question. I love it.
Yeah, I do. Interestingly enough, one more little detail is they were at one point thinking that they would have to divert or close the road behind the Annie Road end. It looks like they've got to find a way that they won't have to do that as well. I think that's part of the new planning application. Also, the planning application will allow, if it goes through, Liverpool to host concerts and other sporting venues at Anfield, like Take That and other concerts that they had in 2019. But yeah, it's lovely. It's Everton fans sometimes take the Mickey out, the big one, call it the punch hole stand, because it looks like one of those punch holes, if you've got pages and you want to push holes in them. The main stand looks like a punch hole thing, so maybe this will be part 2, but it's magnificent, isn't it? It really is just fantastic looking. And the main stand itself, it's just lifted the stadium, the surrounding area, everything. And again, massive credit has to go in. Whatever you think of our ownership group, there's pros, there's cons, but you can't deny that they've made the right decision to stay at Anfield, and it's looking like a magnificent stadium. And when this is done, 61,000, that's good enough.
It's good enough for me, Steve.
Love it. Nothing to add there. Super exciting.
Yeah.
Can't wait to get over there.
I know it. We got to get over there soon, man. We got to get over there soon. But yeah, and the thing I like about it, and this is what I think really, over time, we're going to have the stadium. And Craig, you may know more about this than I do, but before the main stand, the last stand to be renovated was the Kenny Dalglish stand. I can't really decide if they're going to do anything more to that, if they're just going to do like a little expansion. I think they'll probably just keep it. But I feel like there's been rumblings of them redeveloping the Cop to make it, the standing fan friendly. You definitely know more about that than I do, but do you know anything about them having plans to redevelop the Cop or at least renovate the Cop?
Honestly, other than what you guys are saying, maybe some murmuring from the fan base, maybe a few questionnaires starting to come out from the likes of the Spirit of Shankly and some other supporters groups, because it's a very sensitive subject and it needs to be treated with the sensitivity. But interestingly, United are looking at introducing it into Old Trafford. So if that gets the go-ahead and Manchester United get to bring it in, I think it is the logical next step. And I think, look, I've been on the Cop enough times to know that you stand when you're there. It's not safe. I mean, I've nearly fallen over the seats ahead when we scored, or we've been attacking at times. And to me, it seems the logical thing to do. And I hope it gets the go-ahead. But of course, it is an issue that needs to be treated with the utmost sensitivity. Yeah,
absolutely. Safety is the top priority as anything. Steve, would you like to see... I've heard getting tickets to the Cop is impossible. Like, you got to inherit them. Is that true? Because I would love when we go there, Steve, I want to sit in the Cop. I don't want to, or the main stand. I don't want to sit anywhere else.
No, I agree. It's one of the other.
Yeah. Well, I could certainly point you guys in the direction to get onto the Cop if and when you're making that big trip over.
Let's go. We got our...
That's why we love you, Craig.
Yeah.
I just need to be able to find myself some tickets at some point. Now, do you know what? I'm different. I'm getting old now, so I'm a main stand person at this point. I like to look side on to the pitch. I like to be...
I'm cool with that. Yeah, I mean, I prefer that angle as well.
There is... Yeah. The Cop is so much fun. It really is so much fun, particularly on a European night.
Oh,
I'm getting chills just thinking about it.
Dude, me too. That's crazy. I'm getting chills also. Man. But yeah, here, I want to bring up, we'll kind of move on to some of the transfer rumors now. In recent weeks, guys, we've been linked with Pierre Schurz from Ajax, right? We've been linked with this guy. I can't even remember how to pronounce his name. I think it's like Wałaszewicz or something like that. I'm forgetting where he came from. Cagliari, that's right. So let me share my screen with everyone here. With the injuries, right? There's going to be links to the center backs, okay? But what Klopp is doing right now, and with Matip, knock on wood, staying healthy, right? And Fabinho being able to do a job at the back, and of course Reece Williams and Nat Phillips coming up. Do you think Klopp moves for a center back in January, or at the very least he pulls a Steven Caulker and he loans someone for 6 months? Steve's laughing. So Steve, we'll go with you first.
I just love the Steven Caulker references. They just keep coming from you. It's just this guy's just like one. He's like this one like artifact because Klopp just never does this sort of thing. Kyle just loves mentioning Steven Caulker.
Look, man. I mean,
buy a center back. I'd be happy if they bought one. I don't think they're going to personally. I mean. I would love Upamecano. It makes more sense than any of the others, I think. Especially if Klopp is banking on Gomez and Matip continuing to battle injuries every single season. One would assume that Van Dijk will come back and be a robot again. One would assume. But the other two, we just can't. Even Fabinho gets hurt as well. No major injuries, but he's picked up plenty of knocks over the last 2-3 years. I would love to see Upamecano come in. Schurz, typical Minamino situation. Somebody plays really well against Liverpool, we just buy him. It's just like, it's pretty funny. I don't know. I would like to see Upamecano. I don't think they're going to buy anybody. That's me.
Yeah, well, I just want to go back and say this. In Klopp's first season in the Europa League, we played against FC Augsburg, and Klavan was playing for Augsburg at the time, and we just snatched Klavan up too. So it's pretty typical of Klopp to do that. So,
Dude, it is.
I mean, you gotta love it though. Klavan came in and did a job. He did a job and a half. But
Burnley game.
King Klavan. Well, that's where the nickname came from. That match.
He's just a legend.
Yeah.
Just a legend.
Craig, let me get your thoughts on this, right? I personally, I've been critical of Upamecano in the past. I've seen rumors. I think he'll end up going to Bayern. That's just my opinion. I really don't think, I don't see us bringing in a guy who is going to be immediately required or he will immediately want to play first team football. If we bring someone in, it's going to be a guy who's going to be a project, like a developmental project. And if we look at players like Schurz, Upamecano, both of them are 21, I believe. Schurz may even be younger than that. But I feel like these players, they're great. Don't get me wrong. I don't know if they're going to want to come in and sit on the bench behind Matip or Fabinho or whoever Klopp trusts to put at the back. What's your take on it, Craig?
Just to go back to Stephen Cocker for 1 second. Am I right in saying that his only appearance was actually as a striker? Even though he was a centre-back, I think his only substitute appearance, he was thrown up front when we were chasing the game, if my memory is correct on that one.
He only had one appearance. I will agree with you there.
With regards to Per Schurz came to trial at Liverpool when he was 18 years of age. He was playing for Fortuna Sittard at the time in Holland. He really impressed the Liverpool coaches, but they thought, and Fortuna Sittard thought it was best for his development to go back to Holland. He then became the captain there and then moved to Ajax. So we've been keeping an eye on him for a very long time.
Interesting.
Ben White is second on my list of centre-backs that I would like to see Liverpool go and get. Upamecano, I kind of agree with Steve on. I'm not sold. There's something about him. I remember watching him playing against Paris Saint-Germain and Moise Kean was bullying him, pushing him off the ball, shouldering him. And how? Like, he was so much bigger, so much stronger. I couldn't understand it. And I actually think of the Leipzig pair, Canate has impressed me more than Upamecano. And I agree with Kyle. I think he goes elsewhere. I think he either to Manchester United or to Bayern Munich. But I honestly couldn't say if we'll pull the trigger in January or if we'll wait for the summer for a centre-back. We do need one. I think we all agree on that. But we also know that Klopp won't settle. If the guy he wants can't be gotten in January, he'll hang off and roll the dice until the end of the season.
Yeah, interesting. And we got Shane Buckley saying he doesn't want to sign a French defender because he reminds him of Mamadou Sakho. And I just want to say Mamadou Sakho is a Liverpool legend, Shane. Okay. But yeah, no, I mean, Konate.
I take Sakho back for
Would
cover.
you?
Screw it. Why not?
I don't know.
If Klopp doesn't find his man, like
Just
you said, Craig, if he's not sold, what's that?
Hide all the supplements if you take him back. Don't let him near anything.
Literally lock him in a room. Like, he needs quarantine, non-COVID quarantine, so he doesn't have access to anything. No, but like you said, if Klopp doesn't have his heart set on somebody that we're going to get in January, he could just roll the dice for the rest of the season. But I think he could also just bring somebody in that maybe he's not so sold on, just in case.
Okay,
because it's not out of the realm of possibilities to consider Fabinho, Gomez, Van Dijk, and Matip are all injured at once. Then what?
Sure.
Then you have Phillips, of course. Phillips would slot in if it's a league game, right? Because he can't play in the Champions League.
Right.
He'll be able to play after. If we want to register him for February, he'll be able to play in the knockout stage. This was just the group stages that they registered. They did not register him for. Sorry, and we've only got one game left in that.
Oh,
perfect. Okay,
so two different registries. Okay.
Then you're looking at Nat Phillips and who else is there? Reece Williams, Cometio, Hendo, Genie. Oh, I just don't want it. I don't want it to get to that point. I think we need one other.
Yeah.
Either way, whether we buy somebody a target or we just get somebody to fill space.
Sure. No, I agree with you 100%. And I only brought up Upamecano because he was like the first name that was linked with us after the RB Leipzig went out. Leipzig. First, I always get them and Salzburg mixed up. But last season, once Leipzig went out of the Champions League, he was immediately linked with us. I think he's going to go to Bayern or some other big club. Who knows? I'm just thinking about our center back situation. Klopp brought in Van Dijk in the January transfer window. That was our Christmas gift that year, right? But he was a player that immediately got slotted in, right? He immediately played. And I just don't know if Klopp's going to bring in that player that's going to just sit on the bench or be a developmental player. But I like what Craig brought up about Schürrle. I didn't know he had trials at Liverpool. I didn't know we were monitoring the situation. Of course, we have tabs on hundreds, if not thousands of players. But it'd just be interesting to see what Klopp decides to do, depending on the fitness of all of these other players. Really, though, do we need any other? I'm seeing links here. If we go back to the other thing here, we were being linked with a goalkeeper, if I was mistaken, because Adrian, I believe this is the last year of his contract. It was a short-term contract. And, yeah, I agree with you, Steve. Get him out. Get him out. I mean, we have Kelleher. If Kelleher does well today, if he does start, I think that's what I'll need to say, okay, he's a solid backup choice. Of course, we brought in that young Brazilian keeper, Pitaluga, I believe his name is, but he's only 17 years old. He's a child. He's not going to be ready for a while. So do we need another keeper for next season? Or do you think we'll be okay with Kelleher and Alisson? Given Alisson is literally getting injured every other week.
Interesting question. I think the keeper you're talking about is the guy from Sevilla, who made his debut at 20 years of age in the 4-0 loss, the Olivier Giroud game against Chelsea in the Champions League. So I don't see what the point would be to bring him in over Kelleher, both as inexperienced as each other. So why not?
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And 4-0, yeah, I'm reading here. Alfonso Pastor, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. And we would get him on a free, it looks like. So that is like a risk-reward situation. We're not really losing anything. You know what I mean? Steve, what do you think?
Sorry, I was on mute. Adrian's got to go. Alisson is confirmed to be injury prone. We do have to bring in someone. I just don't know who. I don't know much about this guy, to be honest.
Neither do I. This is something that I just saw. And personally, the goalkeeper situation for me, I liked the acquisition of Adrian for the purposes of just having cover, having a experienced, for lack of a better word, Premier League keeper playing for West Ham. You know what I mean? Like we knew what to expect. And so I liked that acquisition. Now, do we need this particular player who's, like Craig said, on the same level virtually as Kelleher, or do we get rid of Adrian and get another proven or experienced either Premier League or top European League keeper as cover for Alisson? If Kelleher can keep up the form that he was in, I mean, honestly, I'm comfortable with Kelleher. Maybe I'm getting ahead of myself, but
no, I think the last couple times we've seen Kelleher play at the senior level, like Craig mentioned, I didn't know he let up 7 the other day in the junior game there. But
7?
Yeah, we got hammered by Manchester City.
Oh God.
Oh boy, you hate to hear that. Okay, I'm gonna act like I didn't hear that. But anyways, so I think we need another veteran. I would like another veteran. As far as I know, Adrian was a free agent when we bought him. Alisson got hurt in the first game of the year. We literally called him up out of his house. Adrian, come on, buddy. But there's a reason he was a free agent.
Right.
And we didn't see, there's a reason he was unemployed. But we didn't see that.
I think we were just wanting anyone but Mignolet at that point would have done.
Exactly. But when he came in, we all know who he is, right? And then he played well for those 9, 10, 12 games, whatever it was, while Alisson was out. And then for me, the mistakes started coming, and I think the final straw was the Champions League against Atletico Madrid. And then since then, it's all been downhill from there as well. So I think we just bring in another veteran. I don't know who, but there's plenty of people out there, I guarantee it, that would be serviceable for these EFL Cup games, even if it's a third string behind Kelleher, if Kelleher proves to be legitimate, because we just can't count on Alisson anymore. As much as we love him, we can't count on him.
I don't know if it's quite to that point yet, Steve.
I think it's at that point, Kyle.
You think?
How many games has he missed this year alone?
I mean, he's missed a decent amount, and last year he was out for 8 or 9 matches at the beginning of the season when he pulled his calf. But I mean, it's not like I don't know. I feel
8 or 9 matches is 1/4 of the season.
Yeah, but was he injured again after that last season?
Yes, he didn't play in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid.
Oh, okay, good point. Okay, all right. Well,
Well, how many games has he missed this year?
He's missed a lot this year.
He's only been here for 3 years.
He's been a difference maker though, man. Like
I'm not saying get rid of him. I love Alisson Becker.
You're like, we can't count on Alisson.
We cannot count on him to be fit. When he plays, he is the best, in my opinion. We cannot count on him to be fit anymore. We have to have a solid plan B in mind. Adrian's not that. Maybe it's Kelleher, but I think we need to bring in another third option because we can't count on the kid that we just signed.
Okay.
I don't know anything about him.
All right. I like it.
He's like 10.
I like it. Let's jump into Downton Abbey. I forgot. I always forget about this. Yeah. Oh, wrong one. Karius is still an LFC player. Where's he at? Union Berlin right now?
I can't entertain that. Craig, let me hear your thoughts on this. I'd love to hear your spin on this. For me, it's an absolutely not.
On Karius?
Mm-hmm.
Bring back Adrian. Everything's forgiven.
I'm with that.
Hey, what?
No way I want Karius anywhere near. Now, look, I've nothing against the guy. Sincerely hope he goes on and has a good career. But it was like Mignolet. It got to a point where there's no coming back. With the crowd, with his own confidence. I have nothing against him. Again, what happened in the Champions League final, was it down to concussion? Was it down to errors? It doesn't really matter. He had a horrible game. But you know what I liked about him? And I'll always give him credit for this. And you don't get this with Adrian. He manned up. He manned up and he apologised for having a howler. Adrian just says, we'll go on to the next game. It's something that I know winds up a lot of Liverpool fans. Just acknowledge your mistakes.
I love that take. I really do. And I think I'm just going to play devil's advocate here because that's what I do. With Adrian, I'm just saying it's what I do. Adrian, like, part of me can level with that. Like, if you make a mistake, just move on from it. Like, short-term memory, like, you don't think about that because if you dwell on it, it's going to affect your confidence. Clearly, that didn't work for Adrian. But there is a part of it that says if you just move on and display confidence, even if you aren't confident, that's kind of what you need to do as a professional. But I also respect the heck out of Karius for doing what he did and coming out and apologizing. Because really, after that, I think Champions League final, it was a way different situation. You should apologize for that. And I respect both sides of it, but I understand Adrian just kind of moving on and like saying we go again, right? But that's just me. Let's go to not score predict. We'll do score predictions. I don't do them anymore, but lineup predictions for the match today. All right. So Steve, you're smiling. You go first.
The evolution of Kyle since you were last on, Craig, is he doesn't do score predictions anymore. He mentions Stephen Cocker every episode. we absolutely love it. Oh man, so happy to have you back here.
Not every episode.
So, okay, 3-1. Bobby, Jota. Is Salah cleared to play?
Yeah.
All right, Salah. Those three.
Oh, it's me now because
3 on 11, Steve.
The diva on the other side won't do the score, so I'll give
you wanted score.
Now.
You didn't want lineup, I thought.
No. I wanted both.
Oh, okay. So front four, Gini Hendo. If Trent's back, obviously I want him there, but I don't think he's playing today.
He's in contention. Him and Kate are in contention, but I'm not sure. You're right. I don't know if he's playing or not.
Fabinho, Matip, Robbo, Kelleher. Quivine, Kelleher.
Is that how you say?
Spot on. Perfect.
Quivine, Kelleher.
Yeah, guys, put your lineup predictions in the chat. We got a few coming in. Craig, let me hear yours.
I'm gonna have to stick with the one I put in my preview, so I'm trying to remember now. Kelleher, Trent, Robbo, Matip, Fabinho, Henderson, Gini. I think I went for the full attacking four. Did I? No, I rested somebody. Who did I go with my attacking midfield role? Curtis Jones, and then I'm gonna rest Jota, by the way. So I'm gonna go Mane, Firmino, Salah. Not that I want to rest Jota, but we brought him in so we could rotate the front four, so they could get a rest. But I'm greedy. I wouldn't mind the front four to start. Prediction: I'm gonna go 2-1 win for Liverpool. Again, in my head, this is a much more difficult game than the stats that Kyle brought up earlier on maybe suggests. But as long as we pick up a win and keep these 3 points and get Chelsea off the top of that damn table as quickly as possible, because the arrogance that's starting to come in from those lads already is no, thank you. We need to Give me Spurs on top of the table over Chelsea any day of the week. I just cannot stand Chelsea.
100% agree with that.
Oh man, God, we talked about this last week, Kyle. It's like looking at the table right now is just a waste of time. I thought before the season, I said, if you even look at it before Christmas, it's not even going to be worth it. But now, I think we're looking at like February for any real separation. So, but yeah, I don't want to see Chelsea up there. I don't want to see Tottenham up there either. I just want to see Liverpool up there. I hate when any team is ranked higher than us because I know even with all these injuries, we're still the best team. We're still the best side. So,
True.
And I think they know that as well. I watched the first half of the Leeds game yesterday, and we don't have to open up this can of worms, but how did that game finish? Because I saw up until the 35th minute, it was 1-1.
Chelsea, they destroyed them, didn't they? Was it 3-1, Craig?
Yeah, it was 3-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Leeds looked really good in the beginning of that game.
Yeah, Leeds they play so open and so fast paced. I feel like they run themselves into the ground just a little bit. They also can't defend. They struggle defending. Like set pieces. I think Zuma's goal, he was completely unmarked. Like he just went in there, headed it home. How do you pronounce their goalkeeper's name? It's like it's not at all pronounced. It doesn't matter. But he had a couple good saves for Werner's chances. But you're right, Steve. We won't get into that. But me personally, let's talk. I'll go to my lineup prediction. So I think I'm starting Steven Caulker at the back with. No, I'm just kidding. All right. So
No, up top.
Up top, yeah.
Up top, striker.
With Vandenberg on the right wing, right. Yeah. So I'll go front three, right? I think Salah, Firmino, and Mane play. I think the thing is, does Klopp play Jota against his old team? I mean, I don't think that has any pull on whether or not he decides to put him in the lineup. I think it's more of resting the player. I just have a feeling he's not going to start. So I'm going to go with front three, and then I think Jota gets subbed on in like the 60th minute or something. But in the midfield, I'm going to go Wijnaldum, Hendo, and Keita with Fabinho and Matip at the back. And then you got Kelleher, Robertson, and Trent. I think he gives Trent the start. I mean, Nico, I think he played well, but I don't know if Klopp is going to rush Trent back, even though he's in contention, you know? But it's about time because they said he should be good to play after the international break. And it's been, a little over a week or two?
If you think about it from another standpoint, the odds are that Nico's going to play against Midfield away.
True.
So Trent would get a full rest then right through till next week.
That's true. Good point. Dave Smith saying Jones has to play. He's fresh as well. Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, Jones could play in place of Keita, and then Keita gets subbed on in the 60th or 70th minute. We've seen that plenty of times. I'm starting to trust Jones a lot in that midfield. I think he's playing extremely well. And I just want to say we had someone messaging. I can't even talk right now. Messaging like 10 times asking about Pierce to Anfield. Not sure. We were talking about that a little bit earlier in the show. Craig brought up that we had tabs on him and he had a trial at Liverpool and we've been keeping track of him ever since then. So it's possible. We'll see what Klopp decides to do. Craig, you went 2-1. Steve, did you give a score prediction?
Yeah, 3-1. Jota, Salah, Bobby scoring.
I would love.
And I was just to add, like, let's just say the lineup is front four, Gini Hendo in the midfield, Trent, Robbo, Matip, Fabinho, Quivin, Kelleher. Like,
he's getting all cocky now, isn't he?
Lineup.
He's getting all cocky now with it.
Yeah, I love it.
Quivins everywhere now all day.
All right, so there's a video, Craig, I can send it to you that I saw. Kyle, I showed it to you. It's like a cartoon with Milner and Klopp talking about who they're going to play at keeper. This was like 2 months ago.
Okay.
I'll find it and send it. It's absolutely a riot. But they were saying Quivin, and I was like, what are they? Is this a joke or is this really how you say it? But I'm glad you confirmed it.
Oh, that's funny.
But if you look at that lineup, the only question mark is Kelleher. Like, everyone else is rock solid.
Yeah.
Like, if you look at the two teams on paper, you're like, oh, Liverpool should win this game. Definitely. We talk about all these injuries, but thank God we have squad depth now.
I think this could be and you touched on it earlier, a really perfect time for fans to get back inside the stadium, just for that little push, that little extra bit when the legs start to tire.
Absolutely. We got some score predictions coming in. Liz Golden, 4-1. Love it. Absolutely love it. I think nope, I'm not going to say it. I'm not going to say it. We've been doing well since I stopped doing the prediction. Kent saying 2-0 today. Let's see what else we got. We got some predictions in here. Fabinho will be a part of the back four. He's been so good. I agree. Curtis Jones must play. Shayna saying 3-2 win for Liverpool. Let's see what else. Anything else here? Guys, if you have your score predictions or your lineup predictions, put them in the chat. But I just want to give my closing thoughts here. I love the stadium development. I love the direction the team is going. A lot of criticism of FSG in the past. I think FSG have done, and this obviously, I'm not trying to be biased, of course, because they are American owners. I think they're taking the team in the right direction, and I think that's not arguable. I don't think you can argue that. They obviously have things that maybe you don't like in terms of transfers, spending money, but even that, they've spent money, right? We brought in Van Dijk and Alisson, some of the most expensive players we've ever brought in, and then we brought in Keita and Fabinho in that time, and then we just brought in Jota, right, after being criticized for not spending money during the pandemic. I just think the owners have done exceptionally well, and I'm just excited to see where this team is going to be in a couple years' time. And another thing, transfers, I think with people starting to become healthy, even though we're approaching a very hectic time of the season, middle, end of December into January, games every other day. I mean, really, it's going to be a hectic time. Hopefully everyone can stay healthy. But I'm excited for the match today. I just wish it wasn't on Peacock, to be honest with you, Steve. I don't know if you saw it, Steve, but it's only on Peacock. It's not on.
I have Peacock, so it's not a problem.
I have it too, but I don't know how to get it on my TV. I need to figure that out.
You need to download the app on your
the Peacock app or the NBC app.
I have the Peacock app on my Xbox One.
Okay, I'll just do that.
I'm not sure if PS5 or PS4 has it, but I was going to say you also forgot that we bought Tsimikas and Thiago to fill two gaps that we needed: creativity in the midfield, backup for Robbo at left back. Thiago, I don't know if he's going to play again in 2020. I would say probably not. I'd say we see him after. Yeah, I'd say we see him mid-January. That's my guess. Craig, you might know more there, but we don't need to open that can of worms. I think everything's going good for the Reds. We just got to keep grinding out results. And yeah, we'll see what happens in the transfer window in January. I think you'll see a lot more sale than buy, but should be interesting.
Interesting. Craig, what about you? Closing thoughts, man.
I'm very intrigued, and again, this is probably a whole other day's conversation to see what happens with Jerry Cardinal and with Billy Bean and that potential Red Corp acquisition investment in FSG. I'm very intrigued to see how that goes, because that could see us having feeder clubs around Europe as well, which could help with development. Today's game, I just hope everybody enjoys it. I mean, I haven't spoke to you guys in a while, so I don't speak to you or your viewers before Christmas. Have a wonderful holiday season, be safe and be well, and look, just keep getting behind the guys. It's going to be a crazy season, as you guys both said, and it's going to be one that it's going to take an awful lot of guts. But when we go back to back, we can look back on this and think we hadn't got our best defender. We had a goalkeeper out for a whole lot of the time. And if you thought we were unbearable last year, strap yourselves in, because it's only going to get worse.
Forget about it. If we pull this out,
I just got the chills back to back. Oh man,
with Van Dijk out back to back.
That's when people would have to say, yeah, this is the best team in the world. Well, in England, easily.
Wow.
Because people still don't want to admit it. But if you go back-to-back and you win it with, let's just assume Thiago gone for a while, Van Dijk out, Gomez out, probably Alisson will miss more time, God forbid, knock on wood. You know what I mean. You know where I'm going with this.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, it's a no-brainer. Klopp is an absolute genius, the best coach in the world. Liverpool legend. Let's build the statue. I'm going to start building it now. I'm going to go to the store right now.
Yeah, go. Let me know if you need any, funds for that. I'll help you build it.
Yeah, shoot me some money. I'm going to go buy some cement. I don't know what you make statues out of, but we'll start there.
Statues with cement, Steve?
Well, you can make the foundation with a nice block of cement, can't you?
I'm sure you could. You let me know how that works out.
Okay.
All right, guys, I just want to thank everyone, especially Craig, for joining us. Craig, we always love having you on. Hopefully, we'll have you on again soon. Everyone in the chat, thank you guys for tuning in. And if you're new to the stream, make sure you subscribe, hit that thumbs up button, share the video with a friend. And of course, in the description, check out the channel memberships as well as the new merchandise that we just got in. Check it out, Reds. And thanks for everyone tuning in. We love to read all your comments. Until next time, Reds, take care.